Well, Deirdre McKay joins me now live from Newcastle in the UK. She's a professor of sustainable development over at Keele University. Good to have you on the show. All right, put this into perspective for us. In terms of protecting ecosystems, how does it rank in terms of the driving force in this climate crisis?
These ecosystems are really our last line of defense against the warming we've already built into the system. We need to leave forests where they are, and the best way to protect forests is going to be to strengthen the management of the communities that are already maintaining them. Billions of people rely directly on the forest for food, building material, and shelter, but indirectly, forests are affecting rainfall thousands of miles away. They absorb twice as much carbon as they emit.
Talk to us about what the role of indigenous people play, because the UN says they are the best protectors of these ecosystems.
Absolutely. We can't see forests without the people that make them, right? All of the forest cover we have is really being maintained by indigenous and local communities, and they've got intimate connections with those ecosystems that sustain them in a way that we are familiar with them. For instance, the peatlands or the Amazon or the Congo Basin. And it's really, really important that we recognize their stewardship. It's also really important to recognize that most of the carbon that forests store is in their soils. So it's not just a matter of keeping tree cover, it's the whole system. It's the biodiversity, the soil diversity, all the microorganisms, as well as the birds and wildlife. And that takes really fine-grained local level management.
Okay, so the local communities, the indigenous communities, a big role falls on them. But what do we do as consumers? How do we change our consumption behavior to sort of help in all this?
Okay, well, we've seen some really big shifts in this with COP26 and large corporations really trying to shift our global financial systems to value nature. So as consumers, we really have to get into our kite marking schemes. The big companies that are involved in those forest risk commodities, palm oil, beef, and soy, have actually agreed to enhance what they're doing with supply chain action to give us 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming, we hope. So we have to look at our soap, our shampoo, our clothing, our food consumption to think, okay, do we have soy in there? Do we have palm oil in there? Is it sustainable? And get used to shopping for kite marking.
Okay, so it's palm oil, timber, meat consumption. I get it. I mean, how big is the cost going to be if we don't change our behavior and we do more damage to the forests?
I don't think I could answer that question because I can't count that high. We're looking at a systemic collapse because forests are sort of self-reinforcing, self-stabilizing systems. But once you disrupt them too much, we hit a series of tipping points where we get what we call positive feedback loops. So they basically break down catastrophically. They start becoming net emitters of carbon. We start seeing wildfires, floods, debris flow, we see mass migration, and we'll also see more pandemics. So we are really looking at one of the last nature-based solutions to the climate crisis that is already in place that we can restore and enhance.
Deirdre McKay, pleasure having you on. Some very useful insights there. Thank you.